Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jersey and today we are gonna be building a country style train station depot that is gonna have like a big entrance, both sides, a way to go in and out. And I hope that you guys really enjoy this video. Will give you inspiration and maybe you wanna do something like this in your island or in a future development project that you wanna work on. Now, we're gonna speed this video along. We're gonna put down the tracks, and don't forget that you can slow down the video at any time in YouTube and just mute the sound so you don't have to hear me in slow motion. But other than that, let's have some fun and let's break it down. Okay, so one of the first things that we are doing here is kind of centering the area where this train station is gonna go. So my idea was that we are gonna put the train tracks on the middle right over here, and then we're gonna go up to them. Now this idea kind of changes a little bit because we realize that this is gonna go in a loop. It's not gonna lead us the way out, but I still kind of want to give the impression that the tracks can go across, so that track will actually stay, but we are also gonna take it to the curve, and you're gonna see that a little later in the video. But we're gonna start now going up into the air so we can have these awesome ramps going up for the train station. Now, what you're gonna be seeing in the video, especially in the early portions of this video, we're gonna go kind of a little bit go back and forth, because I really wanted to get the dimension just right, making sure that the train tracks will actually turn equally. That way we knew we had everything perfect. Now, after that, you're gonna see that we're gonna work on one side completely, and then after that, you just gotta duplicate what we did on one side, you're gonna duplicate it on the other. Now, a lot of this stuff you can change it. The great thing about this design is, yeah, we're going a little bit more country in the looks of this kind of entryway train depot, but don't forget that you can change anything that you see here. You can change the bushes, you can change the hedges, all of that can be changed. Now, what you're seeing over here, we're working slowly because I kind of want to have this kind of like elevation going on in tiers when it comes to the train station. So we went with the hibiscus, then we're going with the hedges, then we're gonna have a little gap, and in that gap eventually we're gonna write train station. Now the great thing about this is that it's a long strip, right? So you can put that whatever name you want, however long it is, because it should be able to fit or accommodate almost any name. Now we're working on the second level right over here, and as you can see, we're dirt printing slowly, we're edging it out, and then we're gonna do the jacaranda trees over here. Now, one of the reasons I chose the jacaranda tree, they're tall, I love that look for spring, and since this is gonna be kind of like more like an entryway, I like the elegance and the way this is gonna look, especially when it comes to spring. Now, once again, you can use any tree that you would like that will work better for you. Now, after that, the cobblestone area indicates that that is the space that I want so we can put the lettering, right? So after that, we dirt printed another section in the back, and now we're gonna do a little bit of what you see over here, the hardwood flower box. Now, one of the reasons I did this here is because if I did it just in the normal way, it would not be as high enough, and I wanted the hibiscus just to be a tiny little bit taller, but I didn't want the flower box to really stand out too much. So that's one of the reasons we went with the hardwood. That way it just kind of blends in a little bit more with the design, but I didn't want it to bring just a little bit higher. And then once again, we're doing kind of what we did in the bottom, we're doing it on the top, and now the hedges in the top looks a little bit taller. And by putting the flower beds, the hibiscus are kind of hiding that little dirt piece that is underneath the hedges. Again, it's a choice that I personally wanted to do, but you don't have to do it this way. You can definitely just do a dirt print. You can leave it on the ground. You can use a different flower box if you would like. Okay, again, the idea of the design is to kind of inspire you. And if you want to duplicate it, feel free to duplicate it. And if you want to improve it, then definitely you want to do that. Okay, so as you're gonna go see, since I'm going with this kind of country style feeling, we're using the palm wood fence. I tried all the other fencing, didn't like it as much. I really like the palm wood when it came to this design and the colors that we are kind of using. Now, you're gonna see that it took the directions of the different fences in different ways. in a combination with the hedges. So in some area I wanted the palm wood fence, but in other areas I wanted to the hedges, just to give it a little bit of contrast depending how the train tracks were kind of going. And I wanted to be able to see through the fence just to see like the hibiscus. And again, it's just a different way to approach a design, but feel free to really use any fence that you would like. If you want it to be fully hedges, if you want it to be fully one fence all the way around, that is gonna be what's gonna work best for you. Now over here we're gonna take the turn, and as you can see, when it came to kind of working on this design, we had to work it kind of slowly. The train tracks, when it comes to Dinkum, I don't know why it just doesn't work and the way you will think sometimes when you're doing your measurements. So you want to work it slowly and always do that, especially when it comes to the bridge as well. You want to make sure the railroad bridge, you kind of do your math, make sure you put it down, make sure you always put your tracks down first, and then work on the inside of the design. That is a lesson that I'm learning myself, and it's a way that I'm approaching more and more when we are designing with the train tracks. So as you can see, we are coming up, we're going to turn right over here, we're going the other way and turn. And because the way the train tracks actually work, and I can have this curve so it can go to the other side, you see the design that I'm working in the middle? I actually had to change that. So originally it was supposed to be about this big, but because the way the train tracks, using the 2x2 tiles and all of that, all of that kind of changed. Originally I wanted to be have the fencing, the palm wood fence, go right behind the hedges in the one taller section. But again, since the train tracks are a little bit tricky, and when you're kind of doing your math, it still doesn't work out the way you would like. Again, I will always say, please make sure you work and lay down your train tracks, not just do the design and then hoping that the train track will land. You always gotta think it backwards. Work on your train tracks and then work on your design. And that's exactly what you're seeing here, and this is exactly how we had to fix it. Now, I wanted a little bit more elevation when it came to the design. I didn't like the way I originally did it. It looked a little too flat. I prefer having this little tier going high, just kind of the same way we did the middle here. So that is what we're doing. Now, if you are asking where I'm building this, we're building this in front of the hanging gardens that I did a little while back. There is a tour video that we did of this build. It took me a while to do, but we got it done. But this idea came in to put this train station in front, that as you get here, you get this beautiful view of the hanging gardens, and you're gonna see that a little later. So that is where we're working on. Now, what I'm doing now on this other side, we are gonna do a little bit of a small little water drop right over here. Again, it's just kind of small, just to give a little bit of a water flowing design. I think this actually gives a little bit of view better. And then we're gonna do a little bit on the front of this train station. We're gonna also have a little waterwork display, so it's gonna work really nice, and it just feels like the water is just pouring in. That little section of the green, that's gonna be for train tracks coming down, because again, at some point I realized that we're just going in a loop, in a circle. We're never gonna leave the place, so we adjusted that. And because mistake happens, right? I mean, at least for me, mistakes happen all the time. So we definitely, we needed to fix that. Now, the most important part over here now is keep expanding over here. Now, I should have pushed this a little more back of the hanging gardens, but we had this really idea that this border of the hanging gardens now, you see all those acacia trees, we're gonna take all that out, we're gonna open it up, and it's just gonna be this massive, beautiful view from the train station, the hanging gardens. And when you're in the hanging gardens, when you walk up, it's gonna lead you into the train station area. So I think it's gonna work out at the end, but depending where you are, where you're building things, then yeah. And we had to do a little adjustment that I'm gonna explain a little later, because we didn't want to break any more of the hanging garden. So, but there's one more road that you could leave if you want it when you do the design, is when it comes to the train tracks, and we'll talk about that a little later. Now, I'm going to continue to use the cobblestone, as you can see, in different area. I just really like the feel of the cobblestone in this particular build, and it just worked out great with the idea of a little more of a country style design. Again, if you don't like the cobblestone, feel free to do anything and any pathing that you would like that will work for you. Now that I got the side design done and we added the jacaranda, we added the little street lamppost, the street lights, that's the one that I decided to use. I tried some of the other one. I was trying to go a little more country, but it didn't give me the right feel, at least not for me. So I went with the street lights and I really liked it because it did bring just a little bit elegance. And for some reason, the street light kind of do remind me a little bit of train stations area. It's just, it could be the shape of the lamp. It just looks really good. So I decided to stick with that. Now that I have that side, we got this, we got the dimensions. Now we're going to wrap around again this design right over here. We're going to do a lot of the same things that we've been doing with the hibiscus. Now, we did decided to do this hibiscus and make sure that they like the idea. If they wanted to swap the hibiscus with the color, just do a different style of design or just alternate between different hibiscus. But they really like the yellow, so we kept it all yellow for now. But when you're doing this, you know, feel free, if yellow is too much, then feel free to alternate them in between other ones. Now, as you can see over here, we're working again with it. We enclosing the train tracks, right? So we're going around, we put the hedges, and then we are lifting the area over here. This will be, again, a little row of hibiscus. We're going to close it up again, and then we're going to do a walkway for the pedestrians because that's what we work over there when we put the green archway. We did the stairs. It's a way for people to actually walk into the platform. They're gonna go into the side, then go into the train station. And again, it's just, you know, we like that. Now, if you don't really want people to walk or something like that, or you have an idea, you can just, you know, have an idea and just kind of twist it. But I really wanted to have a little walkway right over here. Now, the walkway, I really wanted to be able to fit benches, and I really wanted to fit the string lamps. Now, the string lamps, I really wanted to do it in the middle of them, so I had to make sure that the walkway, especially on the wider side, not in where the archway, because I wanted to really use the archway. So by using the archway, I needed to make it 2. But basically, it's going from 2, and when you turn, it turns to 3 wide. That way, I can actually put benches. I can put street lights right in the middle in the path, and then you have another walkway, right? So it's just 3 tiles wide. Kind of worked out really well. Now, when we were building this is a little adjustment here. So you don't have to do what I'm doing right now and keep it and go into 1 here. You can actually keep it 2 wide because that was the idea. It just happens that when we're building this, and this was the best spot to do this idea in front of the hanging garden, we got the original Dinkum duck right there. It's just we're gonna incorporate it somehow into the design to be able to use for the train station somehow to make it more sense. But if you're following the design, and when it came to that little turn there, you can definitely keep it 2 wide. It won't change anything of the design that we are working on. You just go 2 wide instead of cutting it like I did to turn it into 1. But that's sometimes what we have to do depending where you're building, and we still really wanted this here, so that's the adjustment that I did. Now, what we're working over here now, again, is in a little bit of the front over here to keep everything in shape, because the idea of this design, as you can see, a lot of it flows together, right? And that's the idea. But then we're gonna wrap around this and into the side, because this will continue to go into the back side or the side, and that we're gonna use a lot of more of the jacaranda trees, and then we're gonna put flower pots that you're gonna see in a moment, and we're gonna accent that with a little bit of the white, the flannel flowers white. And everything is just coming together, everything is working in tiers, and when it's fully grown and spring, it just looks absolutely stunning. And I'm like, man, I just really like this. And you know, the more you work on the design, you know, and stuff like that, it shows you what more ideas you can do in a train station that doesn't have to be like a typical train station. I think part of the fun of working on train station is kind of like the idea that I have when I work on museum and stuff like that. It's not just the little building for the train station, but it's also the journey that takes you into the train station. And this is gonna be one of my first big idea and designs that you're seeing right here, is just making that journey and how you can make it different and good and also keep the idea of the train station, but how you get there. And I like this. I really like the way this is coming out, and very country, a lot more greenery, and just accenting very well with the idea being in front of the hanging gardens. As you can see, we already took out the acacia trees. We've been cleaning things up because it's important. Now you see the view. And once we did that decision, I think it was one of the best decisions to clear this area. And as you can see, we still gotta take out the fence. We still gotta take out a couple more things that are kind of blocking the way from the hanging gardens. That was the original fencing and all of that. We're gonna clear that out. Now in the bottom, you see when I'm putting the hibiscus here, that is kind of like very important in the design. I really wanted that, but you're gonna see a little later when it came to the train tracks that we actually took those hibiscus out because the way the trains are needed to turn, because I didn't want to go deeper more into the hanging garden territory. Now, when it comes to your design and you're duplicating this, you can definitely keep that and just push the train tracks a little bit more out, and then you can do an amazing arrangement. And this is where you're gonna see a little bit of the problem. So here we're gonna come down. This is where it's gonna turn, and it's gonna lead you out. And we need to clean this out because if I push that out, it's gonna be right at the edge of the stairs, and I didn't like that look. We did test that out. It wasn't the look that we wanted. It just didn't like train track right next to the stairs going up. We would have to like do something different, and we didn't want that. So what we did, I sacrificed the hibiscus in there. But now, if you're in an open area and you got it more, you can keep the hibiscus, push it out one more, and then it will give you like one more space. So instead of having one block of the hibiscus, you can just do a double or just kind of do something different that you would like. But when it comes to the design, you can definitely keep it. But you see, if I push it one more, it would have been in the other squares, and then it didn't look right when we did that. Now, this is what I was telling you, that we are keeping this track here for show, because it kind of feels like you can just go in front and all that. And maybe if we ever get out of the Dinkum, that somehow when we come to intersection, maybe by holding the controller in the direction that we want to go, that piece register where you want to go, and then boom, it goes forward, then yeah, then we got it, and then we can just go in a loop. But for the looks of it, I want to keep it. But as you can see, it just goes out one way and then goes out on the other way, and that's how kind of we fix that problem. And then we got the track gonna lead outside into the island, and then they feel free to connect them whichever way they want to. Now we're gonna work on the front over here. This is the water display area, because we're gonna have like two walkways that are gonna be walking up and connecting to the stairs. And then in the center, we're going to have what it looks like a pool of water, like a nice little pond and pool. And that's what we're gonna working on right there. So yeah, I really like the way this presentation is gonna look. This water gave it a nice feel to the area. Now, if you can manage to pull in real water, then you can do even other style of design. You can go deeper. You can have fish swimming in here. There's different options depending when you go. But this is what it looks like right here, as we're starting to now mimic what we did on one side. We're doing it on the other. We got the big entryway, and then finally, we're gonna slowly start working on the backside as the duplication. As you can see now on this side, we just finished duplicating that, and then everything that we did that was dirt, we went ahead and added the fir grass everywhere, because the fir grass is really important. It gives it that little green. It just makes it feel a little more of that country. Now, I needed to find the middle. I needed to find the direction, because the building is interesting. You can go any way you want to put the train station building here. We really wanted to have that little country kind of feel, but I went ahead and found the middle. That way it's kind of centered to the hanging gardens, because the hanging garden in the center is kind of like two. We used the waterfall display over there. So then I did the pergola scenario to kind of find the two and make it the four, and then we kind of decide the building that's gonna go right here. We still have plenty of height, and I really we kind of lucked out on that, like to have this to be able to go high. I was afraid that I was not gonna have enough height after doing all this elevation, but it worked out. We made the little buildings, and yeah, it would have been great if I could have gone a little bit higher to make him a little more and add a little more detail that I really wanted, but it worked out great. Is the top part may feel a little short compared with the bottom, but it's still, I feel like it's still, it came across right. It felt a little country feel. And the great thing about the building, that it's a simple building design. Again, we're building kind of like a little country station, so they needed to be fancy. They needed to have all this stuff that to make it super, ooh, wow. It's just a nice little design. And the great thing about the design, you can adjust it. You can do different colors. You can do different pergolas. You can do different fencing. There's so many options that you can do to fit the style and the coloring of your area. So yeah, so I really like that a lot, and it's gonna work out great, I think, for many people that would like to add these kind of little buildings like this, and it's not too complicated, and it's just simple. And we were able to use the interior wall for the bottom, because at first we're doing a lot of the like old school, right? We were doing the pathing and all of that. That's how you got a lot of this color across. But now that we got the interior wall, I was able to do the bottom of the half of the building, still keeping it that little country style feel with the wood panels, but changing the texture. And then like it's like the bottom strip of the buildings, because we're gonna have like 3 buildings. You got the middle, that is the tallest, and then we're gonna have 2 in the side that are a little bit in the lower side, and it just kind of gives you that this little nice little feel of a country building. But then the bottom part, we surrounded it with interior walls. But as you can see over here with their printing, we got to the highest point that we can go, and then we're using the ramp to kind of start making the roof. We're doing the interior over here, and you know, you're just kind of shaping it up. And I want you to have fun when you come to this point, you know. This is the idea. This is kind of like the blueprint. You can approach it a little bit like this, but then, hey, don't feel like you can tweak it. Feel like you can do this. Feel like maybe if I do this or that, maybe I put a plant here. Many options, and I'm pretty sure that they're gonna change a few things here. Maybe they add a little plant on the top. They're adding to it. I would like to see what they do eventually when we got it completely done, and see how they feel about it. But as you can see over here, I went through a lot of different phases, and this part was really hard to edit because I was so all over the place when it came to trying things, and this scenario, benches, ideas, flower pots. I went in so many directions, and I was trying to edit it in a good way that makes sense, so you can keep following the video. So if you see a couple weird jumps, it's just it was the best way that I could edit it. But as you can see here, down here is when I finally decided to go with interior walls to change the texture of the building. But again, we wanted to keep it very country feel, and most of those country buildings are very in the wood tones, and I kind of want to keep that. And what I decided to go is with 2 different wood tones. Now I went back and forth between the lighter one of this version and the dark one, and you know, pick and choose whichever one you want, you know, or go brick, go with anything pastel. Maybe you want a little more colorful train station. You know, you got options, and I hope that whatever feels best for you, you are really happy with it. Now for the doorway, as you can see, we did the black marble. It just gives a great illusion when you look from far away. It makes it look dark, so it gives it that beautiful depth. I changed over here, instead of the gumwood wasn't matching for the front of the building. The interesting part that I do like the gumwood flower boxes, because over here I changed it for the hardwood, but then it didn't click well. So I actually like the gumwood flower boxes for the bottom, just to give it a little different accent. But the little kind of like the pergola sign, instead of the gumwood, it wasn't feeling well. I went ahead with the hardwood version of it, and once I did that, it actually felt a lot better to me. Again, I wish I could go higher so I can do other little things that I kind of wanted to do, like, you know, the buildings that I done. But again, I needed to keep it simple. That was the idea. So I think we did pretty good. So as I'm here, you know, I'm testing out, putting a lamp here and here. You're gonna see a couple changes. You're gonna see a couple changes of the gumwood trees. Then I decided to go with pine trees. I think the pine tree gave it even a better feeling. It just filled up a little better the areas. Over here, what we're doing is dirt printing the area that is going to be for the pergolas. Now, the pergolas now, as many people know, they use them for building. You can dirt print it. You can do many different things. And I really like that a lot because it gives a different feeling. And then when you're looking from the top, you actually see kind of a little roof. So that's kind of what we did. So we're going to do the pergola design on the side. We're going to do the interior walls. We're going to put again more of the section. So, and then as you can see, I always like to back up just to see if everything is feeling well. And I'm starting to like the way this is looking. Now, there are different things that I approach. The clocks, the bulletin boards, you're gonna see different changes. And you know, some of the changes I made for the member that we were working with. So you gotta, you know, if you like the clock where I put it there, that's great. And we ended up moving it to somewhere else. We ended up putting the bulletin board in different ways. You know, just when it comes to the decoration, just make sure that you do it the way that you would like. If you see something here that you like already, hey, you got a great reference. And if you like the way we did it at the end, when we do the walkthrough, that's going to be awesome as well. But as you can see over here, we're doing the pergola design. Now, because I wanted these buildings to be a tad little lower. I didn't want it to be all equal size because I wanted to have a little height difference. So we're doing the little pergola over here, and I want to make sure that I can actually decorate, but I also want to make sure like this building felt like it had a roof, because when I tried it out without the pergola, it wasn't feeling, I don't know, I couldn't get the building portion across, especially because I couldn't do the way I wanted to with the, with the fencing to go around it. It didn't work. But by having the pergola, it kind of did help doing that and being able to dirt print and then being able to go deep. And it just kind of makes it feel a little more like a building. Again, you can do it with just dirt printing if you want to, but I did it with the pergola just to make it feel. Now, there's a couple options here. You can just keep it open. You can make it a functional place. You can put a store in there. You can do the metal one if you would like to. Then you can change a little bit of thing. We weren't worried about making it like a functional building. So what we're doing here is just kind of completing. And then the pergola gave me the balcony that I kind of could not do like the other side, even though that you could dirt print it. But then I was not gonna have like this look that I was looking for. So what we did is just do it, just insert the pergola and make it feel a little more solid. And look at this. And then the flooring kind of gave it this kind of little look, and it makes it feel when you look at it from the top. And again, it's just a little detail that you can do it all with dirt if you want to. It gave me a little detail that I personally did like. So then we're gonna do it again. We're gonna duplicate the other side, and then again you see that I'm doing a little bit of the gumwood over here just to see. But what I decided is the gumwood didn't look good next to the building. It just didn't work for me. Maybe it's working for you when you look at it, but I did like the gumwood up here. I like the feel of the leaves and the white trunk. So what I did is put the gumwood on the sides of the building, but then in the front of the building we went with the pine trees, and I think the combination of the two look really, really nice. So I see, you can see over here, we're doing again the interior walls, just kind of doing the connection, everything that we did on the other side. And I like this combination between the interior walls, not having to have the print here. We got the pergola, then we do the roofing. And then again, part of the idea of the pergola was to see if we could go make it a store, but when we did the decision not to make it a fully functional walkway. But if you like what you see and you want to keep it flat and just keep the other building tall, then you can actually make it a very functional, people can go in. Maybe you want to raise it just a tad, unless you don't mind a lot of the buildings being a lot of the same height. But again, that was my choice. I just wanted the middle building to be the tallest, and then the one on the sides just to be in the lower tier. But again, I really like the way this is coming out, and it's just a simple design, simple buildings, just to get the point across of what's going on here. That is kind of like an old country train depot that's been here for a while. We wanted to make it feel like that. We didn't want it to make it feel super modern or anything like that. We just want this little feel, and I think it worked out great. And we put a little ramps accent over here on the side just to make it different than the middle one. The middle has like the hardwood fencing, but then this one just have little accent of ramps. And again, little details that you may not be able to see when you're kind of walking around, but I know they're there, and makes me happy. It just makes me happy. So again, as you can see, truly the gumwood was not really working the way that I would like, especially on the front section of the buildings. At first I was liking the clash because I was like, ooh, brown and white, that looks really good. I really like that. But now what we did is I wasn't falling in love with the normal benches. It just didn't felt right. So what I decided to do is grab these benches that I've been doing it myself in some of my train depots. And I don't know, I wish we had this fence, not fence, sorry, the bench in kind of a little more metal. You know, I think that will look really good. We'll give a little more options as well. But I really like this. Again, it fits the country vibe. And then here we are doing the pines. As you can see, we're already kind of moving a couple of things. As you can see, now that the pines are growing, it really made it feel a little more country for me. I'm trying to test a couple of things out. Do I want the clocks here? Do I want the clocks there? Do I want a bulletin board here? So there was a lot of mix and match here. So I hope that you have a lot of fun when it comes to the decoration department, when it comes to the building. Now, each of the building, even though we got signs on the bottom, I also kind of like the idea of putting kind of this green sign. Now, this one, I was a little too low, so we're going to put a little higher. And the other one, now, this is very optional. If you like the sign, put it. If you don't like the sign, don't do it. It's going to be more your taste. And these are stores for me. I kind of like the idea of having the signs because it's just, you know, it's a train station country store style. So, but if you don't like it, don't put the sign. You can do anything else that you want. As you can see, I'm still tweaking things around. We're adding more boxes, more of the gumwood. The gumwood really gives it this beautiful accent that I really like. Something that I decided to do that I really like is I like this, like the road lamps effect. And when the train goes in, and it also gives it a beautiful nighttime feel. And I kind of like that. It just gives me a nice little archway that I like to do with the road light. So I like it a lot. So now we're flipping the bulletin board just to give it a better feel. I think this looks better than the way we had it. And then we put a little bench in the front. I just feel like it just looks very, very nice, very cozy. And we got this beautiful first view, first impression of what this is gonna look. I added the train. I wanted to see how that feel. It doesn't feel too big. It doesn't feel too small. It just, everything is looking really, really well together. And then we're getting this beautiful view. And now we're gonna give you the final walkthrough right over here of this build. Now, as you can see, we added a lot of extra decoration. We got the train station written down right there. Now, if you want to, you can actually raise those letters. It's gonna be up to you. You know, we added our fountains, as you can see, in the middle, in the corner, and the other corner. As you're gonna see the walker over here, we added fencing on the other side of the walker, the walkways. There's a lot of details that we added right after the build. We just kind of keep tweaking and just kind of connecting everything together. But as you can see, the jacaranda trees are already grown. It's in spring. You see the back view of the hanging gardens. You see the benches that we align over here. You see the street lamps right in the middle. I really love this feel. And then again, you can decorate it even more. You can put trash cans, you can put signs, you can put different type of flowers. But as you can see, I love the palm wood, the fir grass. There's all this beautiful greenery going on around here. And then you get this beautiful view of the hanging garden in front of the train station right over here. We added over there, as you can see, a little phone booth just to give it a little bit more. And the clocks are actually, you see it, we put it on the side instead of in the front. Now you can still leave it on the front of the building. And one of the last changes that we did, because there was a little too much clash of the brown, and you may still like that, but we went ahead and added the building, and we picked I forgot what's the name of the wallpaper, but it has brown on the bottom and white, and it gave it a really nice feel when it came to the building right here. And look at that. It looks really, really nice and gives you a nice separation. And then again, it's gonna be up to the person to write all the names, everything there, the store, train, anything that they would like. But I really like the way all of this came out. It just works so lovely. And look at the hanging gardens. It's just kind of, it flows together. And that was one of the most important things when I was working on this build, is making sure that this entryway for the train leading out into the island will match together perfectly, you know. And it was a balance of color, balance of greenery, and doing all of that. And that is what comes down why we did it this way, because the hanging garden is all about the green, right? You got the greenery, you got the water, you got all the plants, you got all the trees, and then putting that combination together, it just worked out so better than I ever expected. But as you can see over here, we're gonna do a little bit of the train so you can feel the way the train tracks are actually working, the way they're gonna lead you out. And I'm so happy the way everything has come out when it comes to this build. And I hope that this build inspire you. I hope that you take ideas. I hope that if you will love it, you will duplicate it. And the things that you like, you may add it into your island. Maybe that is something that you would like to do, something similar. Maybe you do this entry for another type of build, not even for a train station. You will do it for something else. But for whatever it is, I hope that it does bring inspiration. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and I'll see you all on the next one. All right, guys. Thank you. See you later. Bye.